What are your name and pronouns?
So, I'm assuming you mean my Twitch name and everything.
Yes, yes.
Now, by the way, dox yourself.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
No, so I'm Lady Nightscale. I primarily use she, her pronouns, but they, them is also good.
All right. And how do you identify?
I identify as a trans femme. I try to avoid specifically using the term trans woman that often, because I do lean more towards the androgynous side of things. But like femininity has been a thing that's been getting more and more like what I identify with. It's difficult too because I'm in that weird, and this is gonna be a longer answer that I'm sure you wanted.
It's all good.
It's difficult too because I'm in that weird situation where I am trans femme, but I am trans femme muscular tomboy, like in person and for my avatar. So like it's weird because it's like I'm transitioning to feminine as a gender, but with a masculine or androgynous presentation. You know what I mean?
Can you tell me a bit about your VTuber model or persona?
Okay, well, so I just recently went through a rebrand, only like a month or two ago. And so this, what you're seeing right here, I've got a whole story for this one, but like, I am really into Battletech, if you're familiar with that universe. It's the universe that the Mech Warrior game franchise is in. So all of my lore is set in that. I've got a whole backstory that I've been writing. It's like several pages long, because I do writing as a hobby, so that's just kind of what I, do on my off time. But the short and long of it is that I am a mercenary and a Mech Warrior, and I like to refer to myself as mercenary, Mech Warrior, and matriarch because I run my mercenary company like a big family that I am the matriarch of. And we call ourselves the Black Dragon Irregulars. And as a character, Nightscale has always been obsessed with dragons. I like to work in my love for tabletop RPGs by including the thing that her parents bought her when she was young, an ancient Terran book of fantasy monsters. It was literally like Monster Manual from D&D 3.5, and she fell in love with dragons. So when she became an adult and started getting all the money from mercenary work, she started going through genetic refinement therapy, GRT.
Oh, okay, I like that one.
and cybernetic augmentations and stuff to become as much of a dragon as she could. Hence the horns and the fangies. And,
I love it.
All that stuff.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a very cool lore.
So I'm
I like it.
trying to like blend a bit of the fantasy and the sci-fi at the same time. Because I originally, when I was doing the rebranding, I went to get from a VTuber on a certain website where you can get art and stuff done for relatively cheap. We all know what we're talking about, but I try not to pimp it too much because, people know of it. Everything was going good. Everything seemed all right. And I hadn't heard anything until like 48 hours before my re-debut. And I sent the guy a message and I said, hey, what's going on with this? My re-debut is in 48 hours. The deadline is tomorrow. And he says, oh, I'm not going to be able to get it to you until a week from now. Something came up. Sorry.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what? And then he goes, I said, okay, well, that's fine, but I don't need this model anymore because it's going to come in after, everything. And so I went to go cancel it and he refused the cancellation. And I put in a thing with that website's customer service, and they said, well, we'll reach out to him. And he goes, okay, well, I'll real quick finish this up within 24 hours and send it to you. Which, first of all, if you were able to finish in 24 hours, clearly nothing was actually wrong. And so he finishes it up. The model has no bones. The model has no tracking. The model has no face. None of the armor is stuck to the body. So when I put it in VC face and I moved from the left to the right, the armor was just staying right in the center. The hair, the glasses, the horns, none of them were connected to the model. It was terrible. And so
a 3D model?
Yeah, a 3D model.
How do you even manage to do that?
And that's what I said, is I reached out to all my friends who are 3D modelers, and they're like, how do you even do this? Like, this would take more work to fuck up. And
that feels like personal attack.
And so I reached out again to the company, to their customer service. I was like, hey, look, this is not working. And they said, well, technically, he did deliver you a model, so we can't refund this.
What?
I was like, yeah, and I was like, okay. So I reached out to my friend, my friend Ferret Sue, who does 3D
I love Ferret
modeling.
Sue!
Yeah,
I know Ferret
Sue's great. So I reached out to Ferret, and I was like, girl, I'm crying. I was like, I like broke down, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, girl, I got you. And in like 12 hours, she whipped this up.
Aww, that's so sweet.
And I was like, I love you. I'm gonna send you so many feet pics of my dog. Like,
my partner actually makes all of my oh, bless you. My partner makes all of my 3D models actually. So like my entire career, I've been a 3D VTuber. Right now, I'm using my 2D model, but I've always been a 3D VTuber, right? And so my partner has always made them, and so I've never had those issues. Thankfully, it makes me curious. If you don't mind me asking, how much did you pay for that? If you don't mind me asking.
For the one that I didn't end up using?
Yeah.
$250. Down the drain.
Girl, you were ripped off.
Oh, I'm 100%
ripped
aware.
Off.
I'm 100% aware, and it's entirely my fault because I saw the previews and everything, and I was like, oh, these look really, really good. And afterwards, when Ferret was working on my stuff, I went through and I was looking. Every one of those previews, every single one, were VTubers that had graduated and had paid for like multiple $1,000 models.
Oh my god.
That were just like smaller VTubers that did the thing
I
where
hate people like that.
they did the thing where they were like, oh, if I spend like $4,000 on a model, that'll skyrocket me to popularity. And like that didn't happen, so they graduated. And then apparently this dude had just like scraped their models. And like I saw a bunch of reviews and stuff of people saying like, oh, he made me a model and it was really good, but not what I expected. And like vague things like that. So I just kind of interpreted that as like, oh, the work is good, but maybe he takes some liberties with the designs. And I'm all for artistic liberty. I was like, I'd be interested in seeing how you interpret Nightscale, you know? But no, apparently what they meant is that it just wasn't up to the quality that the previews were. And from what I can tell, looking static, the models look great. But they just have no movement.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry you had that experience.
So that's my story.
Yeah, I know you have Ferret too, but if you ever need anybody to, do model editor, make a model for you in future, I know a guy and I promise they're like half that price.
Yeah, well, right now I'm unemployed, so.
Jesus Christ. Got you. No, I'm saying in future, if you ever need anything, hit me up.
Yeah.
I got you, bro. I got you. I got you, girly. All right. Fuck them. I want to beat somebody up now because I hate people that make like 3D modelers look bad. That's. Ugh.
Here's the thing. The funny thing is that I'm totally happy with the model that Ferret did, and I've just been like occasionally throwing money at Ferret for it, and she's like, "You don't have to pay me. I did it as a friend." And I'm like, "Yeah, but here's the thing. I would have spent $150 on this model. So like, I don't mind if you're like, hey, I need dinner,' and I'm like, boom, $40 in your PayPal." Before I was unemployed. Like,
no, understandable. But I'm glad that you got something figured out at least. That's a good sign. It's a good thing to hear. Okay, so in that case, I guess, how did you ensure that your model represented you?
Well, the model representing me was less important than the model representing the lore, because the lore represents me. Because the thing is I'm in real life, I'm a veteran. In real life, I am a United States Marine Corps veteran, and that helped me identify and explore my sexuality and my identity in relation to the very hyper-masculine environment that is, as well as like using the money that I got from that to like start doing stuff. Like even before I properly transitioned, I was doing stuff like buying more androgynous outfits, experimenting with more androgynous hairstyles, and so like the idea of using military service, I mean, granted, it's a mercenary service in real life, but like the idea of using military service to fund a transition was very, very close to me. And so I wanted to make sure it worked with the lore. And so it's funny because I reached out whenever I got my original concept art for her as a character. I was like, look, I'm bad with the words make and the artist. So I'm just going to tell you, like, these are the bullet points I want to hit, and the artist did a really fantastic job. And so that was my method of ensuring it. And I like to tell people too, because I know a lot of VTubers, and this is not a shade or anything, but I know a lot of VTubers, when they're playing a character, they're really playing a character. Especially some of the the bigger VTubers, you can tell when their voice synth breaks, right? And it's you can really tell they're very strongly pushing the chibi adorable character stuff, using a lot of different things, and that's not how they are in real life. And that's fine, spin your game, get your bag, no judgment whatsoever. But I'm very strong on the whole, what you see is what you get, right? And if you look at my about me on my Twitch and everything, this is who I am, even to the point of I can send you, obviously not here, but I can send you pictures, even my hairstyle is exactly the same, the character's basically one to me. It's me if I had horns and fangs and if my pupils were slitted. Other than that, it's almost 1-to-1.
Imagine being able to have slitted pupils in real life, though.
I have contacts that do it. So,
yeah.
I have
contacts are so painful to put
cosplayed.
in.
Yeah, I have cosplayed as Nightscale before.
No.
So
that's so cool.
And that was a thing that was a fun, happy accident, was finding out that I can cosplay my own character with just a pair of horn headbands and those Halloween fangs and a pair of contacts, and there we go. Now I'm,
It's kind of funny how closely related cosplay and VTubing is. Before I got into VTubing, I was super into cosplay. I was very, very deep in the cosplay community, and it's funny because now it just feels natural that of course I'm going to go to a convention, I'm going to cosplay my character, right? And I'm going to present as my VTuber.
Yeah. Actually, another VTuber that I follow that I wouldn't say I'm super super close to, but we are Facebook friends. That level of real life friends where you're real life on the internet. You know what I mean? Who is if you know Disco Devil Girl. And Disco Devil Girl, I originally met her not as a VTuber, but when I was just crawling through anime convention stuff and I saw her cosplay for a character I really like in an anime, and I was like, oh, can I friend you up and we can start talking? And it just ended up being oh, and we're also both what? So you're absolutely right. It's 100%. And she even describes it as she's it's like cosplaying, but I don't have to worry about spending 2.5 hours taking my makeup off.
Yeah, exactly, Con. And also putting 2.5 hours into putting the makeup on in the first place. Yeah. Or more. Some people more.
I was gonna say, I feel like the reason she said that was because it would have taken 5.5 hours to get the makeup on.
I used to get so much heat from my friends that were like, Fee, it takes so much time to change, put your makeup on in the morning. It's we're never gonna get to con in the first place. So I'm I'm sorry, okay? I got my makeup on my face, and I got my body paint. I gotta get my outfit on and make sure it's nice and perfect. Not gonna fall off my body mid-con. Come on. There's so much involved in this. Come on. But it'd be like that sometimes.
It do.
So, what drew you to VTubing, and do you find it rewarding?
What triggered me into VTubing?
Yeah, what brought you into VTubing?
Honestly, the fact that when I first transitioned, I didn't have the makeup skills and I hadn't grown my hair out and all that other kind of stuff. And I did a couple of streams that were facecam streams with my makeup and everything. And eventually it became I didn't have a problem with it. I still do facecam streams today. I'm not one of those VTubers that's just very much oh, I will never turn on I'd show my face off very frequently. The thing is this, I don't have the interest or time, or I didn't have the time, now I do. I don't have the interest and I didn't have the time to do a full face of makeup and get into costume and everything like that, make sure that my outfit looked good every time I wanted to start streaming. Especially because I used to stream every day after I got back from work, and I worked 8 to 10 hour shifts with an hour commute each way. So I was I'm not, and I would do 4 to 5 hour streams after that. So I would get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, wake up, slap on real life clothes, go to work, come home, rip them off, jump in the shower for 20 seconds, try to do my makeup, and then be good. And after a while, I was just you know what? Honestly,
exhausting.
Yeah, just too much. So let me get into VTubing. And then I found that I really liked the ability to adjust certain things. When COVID hit and everyone added on the pandemic 40 pounds, it was nice to not have to see that reflected in the lighting. It was nice, especially I have sensitive eyes. And so it was nice to not have to be like, oh, I need to have a light on me at all times. That's insane.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. How annoying that would be for Facecam.
Yeah, and so, there were a lot of little things that ended up leaning towards me just being like, this is kind of just what I want to go do with this. Not to mention, I also just love, I'm totally a narcissist, and I love getting, like, fan art and stuff like that, and it's way easier for people to do fan art when you have a character, as opposed to just, like, a lot of people are weirded out when they draw fan art of, like, this is you. I drew a picture of you, internet person, like...
And then emotes also look so cute, too.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to do that when, like, to get the cute emotes and to get the fan art and stuff when people have that level of disconnect of, like, no, I'm drawing Nightscale, not necessarily the woman behind her.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get what you mean. I'm the same way. And also, I like getting artwork of myself. I'm very vain. I'm vain.
Tangent moment. But, like... I had this conversation on stream the other day. I think that there's a certain level of vanity and narcissism that every streamer, not even just every VTuber, but every streamer has to have. Because at a certain point, no matter how humble you are, the minute that you're clicking that start streaming button on OBS, you are acknowledging that you are good enough and important enough to be the center of attention. And you can be humble and you can be insanely appreciative of people agreeing with you, which I am. I love every single lurker, I only have like a average viewership of like 15 to 20 people, but like I am so honored and humbled that these individuals choose to come and hang out and enjoy my content. They see me as entertaining enough. But I'm also self-reflective enough to know that before any of them met me, I had enough opinion of myself to say, you know what? If I put myself into this ocean, someone's gonna want to watch me. I think there's a certain and to take it to another level, to be any level of successful, there's so much self-marketing and self-promotion and self-like management. It does require a certain level of you saying, I am the important one here. Maybe not the important one as compared to other VTubers or as compared to like the VTubing community as a whole, but you are seeing yourself as someone that is worthy and deserving of being a community leader. And I think there's a certain level of narcissism and vainness in that, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, right? This is like when people say ambition can be bad, and it's like, yeah, to too much it can be, but also you need to have ambition to like climb the ladder of the job you want, or like even in your hobbies you need to be like, I have a goal and I want to achieve it, and it's an ambitious goal, but I'm gonna do that, right? So like any of these things if managed and at a low enough level can be positive.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, 100%. I mean, obviously I'm going to feel a little bit, self-conscious about my narcissism, because I'm a little bit narcissistic.
Oh, yeah.
But, I guess you're right in the case that it is a little bit necessary if you want to, if you want to be in this market, it's difficult otherwise.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but, like, I know VTubers, and I love some people who are VTubers who have no level of that, like, I deserve to be the center of attention. And every single time someone tries to be like, yeah, you're my favorite streamer, or like, I love coming to your streams, the level of like, oh, well, I'm not that important, blah, blah, blah. The level of deflection, while it is humble and cute to see, it's like, girl, if someone tells you that you're their favorite band, just say, hey, thanks. We're coming up with a new album next month.
I feel like you're calling me out right now.
Like, you can have your feelings, but there's also a certain level of just say, like, hey, thanks, by the way, did you see our new merch? Like...
I gotta get used to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's something I could get used to. It's a deflection, deflection. It'd be like that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and girl, I'm not gonna pretend that I absolutely love myself. You'll see if you come to any of my streams, you'll see people being like, Nightscale, you're so gorgeous. And I'm like, have you seen me? I'm a troll in real life. Like, I'm still totally down on myself, but like, what was that one quote? I think it was from that show Schitt's Creek, but it might have been from a different show. That was like, I'm in that weird level of narcissism where I don't like myself, but I still think I'm the most important person in the room. Like...
No, I feel you there. I really do. Okay, sorry. I keep getting off track. My brain.
Oh, girl,
fried.
no, I'm the one getting us off track.
No,
please.
it's me. It's me. It's okay. But can you share some of the highs and lows of your journey being transgender in the VTubing space?
Well, highs is definitely, I think, this is a fun one because I think most people are going to have the same answers for this. The highs are definitely the fact that, like, it is so incredibly nice and affirming to, like, have people immediately and instinctually, most people, start using the proper pronouns and names and stuff like that, and just being seen as a woman. The moment a couple of other days ago, that was a weird way to say that, Nightscale. A couple of days ago, I was just cruising through Twitter, and I saw a couple people having a conversation about me that were in my community, right? It wasn't like random people. I'm not that important. But like they were just casually using she, her pronouns and like talking about her lore and stuff like that. And it's really, really nice to have this moment of like people instinctively connecting you to your gender presentation of choice. And so that was a big positive. Especially for me, as I mentioned, I'm a veteran. I've been doing private security work for 2 decades. Well, a decade and a half. And so, like, I'm a big girl in real life. I'm strong. I'm like 6 foot. I make the joke that my character's body fat percentage is smaller than mine, but like I am 6 foot 240 pounds of retired Marine. So like, I'm not small, and like even people who are allies will occasionally like stumble over using femininity in terms of referring to me. So not having to deal with that is fucking awesome.
That's good to hear. I'm glad that you enjoy that.
And as far as the negative things, I mean, like, I haven't had too many really negative... So the weird thing with that is I haven't had too many negative experiences in the VTuber community as far as being trans that are specific to being in the VTuber community, if that makes sense. Like, all of the shit that I've dealt with has been stuff that I would absolutely be dealing with, and probably dealing with more, if I was face cam streaming. So, like, I don't have a lot that I would say is like, oh, this was a negative experience in the VTube community. I guess the only things I could even remotely say, and these are like huge asterisks because they're not super strong feelings, would be like, I feel like generally more muscular and masculine, feminine, more like tomboy, muscular like women VTubers, whether they be cis or trans, do tend to lose out to more stereotypical like anime waifu kind of portrayal. And again, no hate, no shade, you know, get your bag. I do think that it's just a much more niche genre of VTuber. So I guess if there was any negativity, it would be that. And like sometimes people will come by and be like, oh, you know that you would be more successful if you like pitched your voice up more, or like if you were not as like muscly and you were a little bit more like, you know, waifish and that kind of thing. I've had someone like specifically use that term. If you were more of an anime waif, WAIF, you'd be more successful. I was like, go away.
Waif?
Waif?
What?
Waif, wife, I don't know.
Wow, waifu.
So like that's really the only negative thing. And like, I guess there was one, I'm not, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. There was that one big blow up with a specific big VTuber a while back that ended up with a lot of people blaming trans folks for another VTuber graduating, and it became really toxic really fast, with a lot of people being like, you know, don't forget what they took from you, they made her graduate, and like blaming the trans community for that. So like, I guess, but again, that's not a me thing, right? That's kind of just like a thing.
For a second, I thought I knew what you were talking about, and then I was like, but that person didn't graduate. Never mind.
Oh, well, they said they were graduating, and then they ended up getting a new identity and going to a different VTuber thing. But so now that I've explained that situation, you can see how even that's not really against me. That's just kind of like a thing that happened, that me being in the space, I was like, huh, that sucks.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, we're playing Dark Souls tonight, you know? Like,
it's kind of how you have to be at that point,
yeah,
right?
And like, I've had people do that a lot, where people will be like, hey, here's this drama, here's this drama, here's this drama, and I'm like, wow.
That's great.
I'm
tonight, guys.
I had that happen, oh my god, I had that happen 2 days ago, the last time I streamed. I was playing Project Zomboid. Great game. I was playing Project Zomboid, and someone came in, and they were like, they know me as a mech warrior streamer, which is fair. Like I said, my whole lore in BattleTech is in BattleTech, and a lot of people know me from my more online streams, so that's fair. And I had someone come in, and they were like, hey. I was like, hi, how are you doing? I saw you on my stream before. And they go, I'm only here because I have dirt on another MWO streamer, and I need you to cancel them for these social reasons. Will you help me? And
no.
I was like...
No.
So I'm playing Zomboid right now. I just found a crowbar. I'm sure that'll kill zombies real good. You know,
I hate to be that person, but I would just like ban or time out people like that.
I was like, what do you even want me to do here? Like...
Mm-hmm.
And I think they made the assumption that because I am very clearly, due to my identity, and I'm pretty loud about politics, like I am very clearly like on the left-hand side of things. Also, I think that they made the assumption that I was going to like put on my armor of truth and like wield my broadsword of righteousness on this kind of thing. And I was like, girl, I'm 33 years old. If I still wanted to be in high school, I would have intentionally flunked. Like, I am so far beyond this drama bullshit. Like, I just want to sip my rum and coke, and I want to play my fun video games that go boop boop bop.
Yeah, same. Ain't no shame in that.
I was like, the only time I have any kind of drama is when someone is directly attacking me. And, like, even people that are in my hobbies that are huge, like, massive bigots and stuff, the fullest extent of my drama to them is, like, if I see they did something really awful, just being like, well, there's a surprise. And that's it. That's all I'll say on it. Because why? I'm not, like, a content creator that gets content from that kind of engagement, right? I'm not a commentary character. I'm not Moist Critical. I'm not, like, fucking Hasabi, like, or Hasanabi, rather. I'm not fucking Keemstar, God forbid, or anything like that. Like, I'm here to play the video games and, like, riz people. Like, that's, you know, that's my whole shtick. I don't know why you're coming to, like, the fun challenge runner who's known for mommy dummying her chat and being like, by the way, drama.
They're like, no, that's not my thing, sorry. Go on some commentary, VTuber, not me.
Yeah.
But, anyway, next question, sorry. Would you say that
Why do you keep apologizing for me getting us off subject?
I'm an apologizer.
Honey, you don't need to say sorry to me.
Listen. All right. Would you say that VTubing has helped you discover more about yourself?
Absolutely, unequivocally.
That was quick.
Yeah,
In what
I
ways
don't even have anything.
He's
I was
like,
about to say I don't even have details. I was about to say I don't even really have details on that, but like now you're saying
if you don't, it's okay. It's okay.
No, I mean just everything. That's the thing. That's like asking someone if you give them a buffet of all of their favorite foods and saying, "Did you like this buffet? What did you like about it?" And they're gonna be like, the whole thing. Like it's great. Being able to control who you present as, both in terms of like internet engagement, being able to choose how you present in terms of fashion and outfit, being able to control things like body figure. Because again, like I said, I put on the 50 pounds after COVID, you know, and even on top of that, when I got out of the Marine Corps and I realized, oh hey, I can eat 2 whole large extra cheese pizzas and not run for 5 miles in the morning. Fucking dope. Like I'll admit that, like, you know, I've kind of gone from the like. I've gone from the 180 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal to the 240 pound, like, you know, biker muscle body. I can acknowledge that. So, like, being able to have that more idealized shape is so huge. And connecting this to the idea of discovering myself, I've gone through the idea of, I mentioned earlier, like, some people said if I was more stereotypical, like, thin-waisted anime girl, I'd get more. I've done that, and it didn't feel like me. I even did the, like, I could show you images of my 2D tuber, and if you go on my stream, you go back to a couple, like, clips ago, and even some days now I'll use it. And I went with the whole, like, real big, like, ogress kind of, like, strong muscle mommy build, you know? And, like, I've tried that. I've tried a whole bunch of different body types, and that has helped me explore where I feel most comfortable, so that when I go to the gym and when I talk to my mom is a nutritionalist, so like I go to her for nutrition advice and stuff. When I talk to my mom about like what nutrition I want to do, I've been using my VTubing to help me feel like, okay, this is the body type I want to go for, you know? And I know I'm not the only person out there, because there's whole gimmick accounts on Twitter that do that, of like, oh, hey, you've been a femboy VTuber, here's how you get that more feminine body without having to like go and get estrogen or something like that, you know? So like, I know I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, then my last question for you. And this one's a scary one, okay? This one's terrifying, mortifying even. Everyone freezes in the spot upon hearing it. All right? Am I scaring you yet?
Not really.
No, okay. I'm not very scary, okay? What would you say to somebody who was looking at VTubing as an option to being their truest self in content creation?
First of all, I would say go for it, 100%. A lot of the feedback I would give would not be centered around using VTubing for presentation. It would be around understanding the difficulties that come with starting up VTubing. Because there are things, regardless of whether or not you're genderqueer, trans, whatever it is, there are things people don't understand about VTubing, right? The expense that's involved with all of it, the fact that you, even if you're not using a face cam, you still have to get a decent studio set up with like lighting and stuff so that your camera can track properly. The difference between webcam tracking versus iPhone tracking for 3D models, or even 2D models for that matter. You know, all these other kind of things. I would talk about that primarily. And then I would say, once all of that was out of the way, if they were still interested, then I would say, okay, great. Now what you need to do is you need to really go on a personal journey and identify who you want, what you want to present as, and maybe commission like a character sheet of that. Before you do like, oh, I'm going to actually get my VTuber model, get a couple of character sheets, and that'll be a couple $100 investment. But that'll give you a couple, like you're getting concept art for game creation, that gives you a couple different things you can look through and see which one you really vibe with. And then the final warning I would give would be something along the lines of like, understand there's always going to be jerks. There's always going to be jerks. You could be the most passingest pass of all pass ever, with the greatest voice and a model that is $6,000 of perfect. There's going to be the dude that comes in and misgenders you. It's going to happen. So I need all of you baby trans VTubers to understand that hate is not indicative of your success. You need to measure your metrics not by how much people hate you, but by how much the people that like you stick around. If you have 10, 15, 20 viewers, if you have 10 viewers consecutively, you're in the top 5% of Twitch. Understand that. And if one of those people is subscribing to you every single month, and they are giving you $20 donations once every couple of weeks so you can grab some food or something, and another one is drawing fan art of you, guess what? You are doing better than the overwhelming majority of people out there, and you need to leverage that for you to really figure out who you are as a person. And don't ever let it get you down, because nobody picked up a guitar and became Slash that night.
I mean, unless... No, I'm kidding.
I mean, even Slash didn't. Like, Slash talks about the fact that he had to work super, super hard on it, you know? And, like, even some of the VTubers that, like, really, really blew up seemingly overnight... I'll give an example of this, right? Fillion. A lot of people say she was a VTuber that blew up overnight. And that was because when she did the VTuber awards and stuff, it got a lot of attention. And that's fine. No shame. Nothing like that. Fillion did a lot of work before that. Never forget the ages that some of the most successful people in the world were at when they became successful. And I'm not, in this case, talking just about your actual age. I'm talking about your age as a content creator, right? You can be... I know VTubers that were like 45 years old in meat space and started VTubing, and they did nothing for 2 years, and then some video they made just blew them up. It happens. Never let anything tell you that you're not happy streaming except you. The only person that's capable of telling you that you're not a successful streamer is if you feel like you're not getting out of it what you're putting in. I am not getting a ton of financial success from this. I'm getting a couple $100 a month, that's it. $150, $200. I am not doing insanely well by most metrics that people care about. But every day I come home and I am excited to stream because I have had a long day and I love every second of talking to my chat. And sitting here, sipping on a beer, playing Dark Souls, playing MechWarrior, playing Titanfall, that's my happy place. And I consider that success. And I think that's what they should do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That was, again, very, 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 very well put. I think people will find a lot of comfort in hearing those words, so Thank you for saying so. I'm getting a little bit of comfort from that myself because I've been
success is
too.
not the success is not the dollar is not the numerical number next to the dollar sign. Success is not the number of little red ones underneath your stream. Success is how happy you are and how fulfilled you are. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you want people to know about your experiences or your journey before we end the recording?
Well, by the time this comes out in any kind of collated video, this will already be over. But I am currently running a charity stream, or a couple of charity streams for a charity called Stack Up. They are a charity that uses gaming in order to help military veterans and even current enlisted deal with things like PTSD and traumas that come from being in the military. And they do things like send out PlayStations and TVs to units in country. So it's like, hey, you came back from a patrol. It was a rough patrol. Why don't you sit down and play Alan Wake for a little bit? Or they'll ship off people that are back for leave that are really, really into gaming. They'll be like, hey, maybe we can send you to the Apex tournaments or something like that. You know, they do a lot of things like that. They also help veterans learn how to reintegrate and reconnect with people socially through use of D&D and other tabletop RPGs, because that's a big social thing. And the reason I'm bringing this up, even though my stream wall will be over, is because I really want everyone that, regardless of your feelings on the military as a political entity, I think most of us can agree that veterans as individuals deserve a lot more love and support than they've been getting even from the government. And I encourage you to look into Stack Up. I encourage you to look into the different programs they offer, like their drop crates, the fact that they offer crisis management to veterans in need, and consider donating. Or even just consider any of the dozens and dozens and dozens of VTubers that work with them, or not VTubers, streamers that work with them, stopping in and just saying, hey, I like what you're doing. Because, you know, I'd like to take this moment not to center myself, but to center people who really need it, which is the veterans who are going through a lot of mental health stuff, which does include me, but this is bigger than me. And so I invite everyone to consider donating, or at the very least shouting that charity out. They do a lot of good work.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put the link, any links that you want to send to me. If you send them to me, I can put them in the description of the video as well.
Great, I'll do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.